The elevator doors close. Just you and a stranger. 4 floors. No music. No reason to speak. 22 seconds of vertical silence. Your mouth stays shut. Nothing is technically wrong. And still, from somewhere behind your ribs, a voice that was never invited into this elevator asks you a very specific question. What if you said something, with absolutely no reason to exist, right now, out loud, to this person holding the grocery bag? Not a joke, not an opener, a sentence built entirely out of nowhere. You didn't think that. Something inside you thought it, and handed you the receipt. You are not calm in that elevator. You are one twitch of attention away from a sentence you can never take back. Nobody in that elevator is in danger. There is no weapon, no cliff nearby. The stakes are a mildly awkward 4-floor ride, which your brain has decided to process with the urgency of a hostage situation. You have built the emotional architecture of a crisis around a completely quiet ride to the 3rd floor. You have done this at dinner tables, and once holding a stranger's crying baby you were only asked to admire. The specific sentence changes. The urge to produce it does not. Here is what it actually costs you. Every silence you own from now on. Clinicians who study this, loosely defined as anyone who has ever had a brain, group it into 3 recognizable events. First, the interview pause. Your interviewer asks if you have any questions, checks their phone for 4 seconds, and in that gap your brain quietly drafts a resignation letter you were never hired to write. Second, the minute of silence. A room full of people looking down, and the only sound is your own pulse, suggesting, calmly, that this would be a remarkable moment to laugh. Third, and most advanced, the Vow Gap. The officiant pauses for effect. A room full of people goes quiet, and some part of your nervous system quietly nominates you to fill it. Each one lasts under 30 seconds. Each one produces the same small, cold spike of certainty that this time, you might actually do it. This runs on a mechanism, the same one every time. To make sure you do not say the sentence, your brain has to keep a live, fully loaded copy of it on standby, checking it against everything that comes out of your mouth. Psychologists call this an ironic monitoring process, documented in 1994 by a researcher who described the mind running 2 systems at once, one actively suppressing a thought, one constantly scanning to confirm the thought is gone. The scanning system cannot tell the difference between finding the thought and producing it. It only knows the thought is loaded, primed, and one motor twitch from your tongue. You are not fighting an impulse. You are fighting a monitoring system built to protect you that occasionally forgets which side it is on. So you build defenses. You clench your jaw like you are holding something structural together. You dig a thumbnail into your palm, hard enough to have something else to think about. You recite your grocery list in your head, slowly, as if oat milk and stamps could outshout whatever is queued up behind them. You pick one fixed point on the wall, a light switch, an exit sign, and negotiate with it silently. You breathe only through your nose, because someone once told you that helps, and you have never once verified this. None of it feels like a joke in the moment. Each ritual feels like the only thing standing between you and a sentence that outlives your career. None of it actually works, and there is a documented reason. The study that first mapped this effect, in 1987, found that suppressing a thought does not remove it. It files the thought for later, more aggressive delivery. People told not to think about a specific animal thought about it more, not less, the moment the instruction was lifted. The jaw clench and the grocery list do not erase the sentence. It gets filed as unfinished business, which is why the elevator opens, the interview ends, the vow gap closes, nothing happens, and the sentence does not leave. It goes quiet and waits for the next silence, slightly more confident than before. The real cost shows up later, at an hour with no witnesses, when you replay the elevator, the interview, the wedding, and audit every silence you have ever survived for signs you almost lost control of it. You do not remember what you said. You remember in exact detail what you didn't. The stranger with the grocery bag has no idea any of this happened. They got off on 3. You are still narrating a version of the ride where you didn't hold it together. Nobody is investigating you. You appointed yourself the only witness to a case that never went to trial, and you keep reviewing the transcript, alone, most nights. The part nobody admits is this. Researchers who study the version of this that happens at actual ledges, the urge to step off something high, found in 2012 that the people who report it are not more suicidal. They are more attentive to danger. The brain drafts the worst possible move, then vetoes it. And what you experience is only the veto arriving half a second late. You have, if you are honest, already picked a backup sentence, worse than the first one, in case the first one somehow escapes. The voice may simply be proof the veto system is working exactly as designed. The people who never hear it are not calmer. They are simply not running the simulation. And if the simulation is what keeps the sentence in your mouth instead of the room, the unhinged internal narrator might be the most disciplined part of your entire personality. You heard the silence. You drafted the sentence. You did not say it. You heard the silence again, in the interview, in the gap before the vows. You drafted it again. You clenched your jaw. You dug a thumbnail into your palm. You recited a grocery list to a light switch. You did not say it. You have never said it. You are, statistically, undefeated. Every sentence you did not say tonight becomes part of a private ledger nobody else will ever read, logged by a narrator who does not get paid and does not stop. Not a warning, a record. So what is the sentence you almost said, the real one? Say it in the comments. Nobody here is judging. Everyone here is judging.